Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Cottage Kitchen at the Elliott Homestead. Today, I want to invite you to enjoy a new series that we're going to be featuring here on the channel called Make Your Own. The idea is that we're going to be focusing on pantry items and staple ingredients that you can build a lot of things from and teaching you how to make them all on your own. Now remember that we have a cooking community where we create 5 recipes every month and 5 instructional cooking videos every month to teach you how to make those recipes. So if you would like further instruction on not only learning how to make your own, but then how to use those in really delicious and nourishing ways, make sure you check out the cooking community, which you can visit at cook.theelliottHomestead.com. So today's make your own pantry staple is some homemade sun-dried tomatoes. Now, because we have ovens, we don't need to use the sun, so I have my oven preheating to 250 degrees. So this is actually kind of an oven-dried tomato recipe. But we all know sun-dried tomatoes and how good they taste in winter pastas, all kinds of ways. So this is what we're going to be making from this glut of tomatoes that's still coming out of the garden. But if you don't have a garden, don't worry about it. I have seen so many tomatoes for sale on Facebook Marketplace and at farmers markets. So get your hands on a few because you can make these at home for a lot less than you can buy them at the store. Step 1 for make your own sun-dried tomatoes is to obviously have a tomato. You can use cherry tomatoes. In this case, I'm going to be using these San Marzano and Roma style tomatoes. And really simply just cutting them in half and then using my thumb to press out the seeds and all the juices on the inside because I want all that flavor that's packed into the flesh of the tomato. As we get into this and kind of continue a little bit of the repetitive work ahead of us, I would like to thank Buona Fortuna for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to be using some of Buona Fortuna's delicious spices and olive oil in today's make your own sun-dried tomatoes.
With Buona Fortuna products, you have the opportunity to bring delicious Italian foodstuff into your kitchen. Many of their products come directly from the island of Sicily, where the farm is managed to work in harmony with nature. Buona Fortuna is an example to other producing farms around the world on how food can be grown in a sustainable and incredibly delicious way. Buona Fortuna makes it possible to stock your own pantry with dried pastas, olive oils, aged balsamic vinegars, tomato sauces, Sicilian biscotti, almonds, pistachios, capers, and even prepared pestos. Their pasta is made with heirloom grains grown organically and dried in the sun. They are working hard to offer something perfect to the world. I've got a special link for you to shop below. Enjoy shopping for these delicious and wonderful Italian pantry staples with the link right below the video.
Okay, oven is preheated to 250. These are going to sun dry in there. I'm going to keep an eye on them. I don't need to worry about flipping them over or anything like that. Just in that last half hour or so, open it up every so often and make sure that nothing is burning, nothing looks too dark. And over the course of that time, they're just going to kind of start to dehydrate, start to shrink down as some of that water evaporates. So the only step to do now is to spice them. So I'm going to actually be using 2 of Buona Fortuna's spice blends, Aglio e Olio and Cacio e Pepe, just because I love these. They have parsley and chili and garlic and sea salt, all kinds of delicious things. So I'm going to give mine a good sprinkling because ultimately the flavor of the tomato and the flavor of the spices that you use is going to be the flavor of your sun-dried tomato. So you could use oregano from your garden, chopped mint, chopped parsley, whatever it is that you have that you like. Okay, here are my oven-dried tomatoes. They took about 5 hours in a low oven, about 250 degrees, but I really shoved my trays full. So if you're doing less tomatoes, you might find it takes a little bit more time, or a little bit less time rather. There's not a super right or wrong dryness level that we're going for. Really, this depends on ultimately what you want to eat because you're making these sun-dried tomatoes for your kitchen. So these are about how I like mine. They're fairly consistent all the way across, still pliable, still soft, but so much of that water is evaporated. So I'm going to be preserving my sun-dried tomatoes the real easy way, which is just storing them in these little glass jars in some olive oil in the refrigerator. There's a lot of different ways that you can preserve sun-dried tomatoes for long-term food storage, such as water canning or freezing or vacuum sealing. But I have been doing it like this for many years and have had great results. I just keep them in small jars because once you open a jar, you expose it to oxygen. And once you expose your preserves to oxygen, that decay process will start. So you want to do it in fairly small jars so that once you open it, you can use it usually within 5 to 7 days. So I'm going to kind of work in layers here, grabbing the tomatoes and pressing them down. It's actually amazing. When I shoved my trays full, I thought this looks like a ton of tomatoes, and it never is. They always cook down so much more than you think they will. But I just have some olive oil here, and I'm just going to kind of layer it in because I don't want there to be any air pockets at all, because oxygen is what causes things to break down. And so in order to preserve these, we're using an old method called packing in oil or under oil. This method of under oil has been used for a very long time to preserve foods because it essentially creates an anaerobic environment, an oxygenless environment, so that our foods can stay good for us to use through the winter months. And that's really what I'm going for here. I want this beautiful tomato flavor in the winter time. I want to chop it up and put it in my pasta and put it in my pasta salads and sprinkle it over my eggs and mix it into my homemade cream cheese. So I've packed my tomatoes in. There's just 2 important points that you need to make sure of now. The first is that you need to make sure that there's no oxygen bubbles left in the jar. And the way that we do this is just by taking a simple butter knife and running it along the edge. We want to release all those bubbles. They'll just naturally kind of flow up to the surface as we kind of just look at them. You can see them coming. You just want to release any major bubbles, any oxygen pockets, because that will cause our sun-dried tomatoes to go bad. The second is that you need to make sure that the tomatoes are actually under the oil because, again, anything that's exposed to oxygen is going to mold. And so the way that we do this is just we make sure to top up at the very top of the jar with about 1/4 inch of olive oil. And now everything is submerged under that oil and it will last for a long time. Now this might freak our modern palates out, but they used to do this with fish and with shrimp. This is still the way that I do my duck confit. I pack meat underneath oil and keep it like that for months. It's a technique that really works. Remember too that you can add in different spices and flavors to your sun-dried tomatoes. So if you want to put a little branch of oregano in there or a little clove of garlic, delicious. You can season them however you like. Get a nice good lid on it. And I'm just going to pack these in my refrigerator just like this. If you don't have room in your refrigerator, again, you can vacuum pack them, you can water can them, or you can put them into your freezer. If you'd like to learn more about preserving techniques just like this one that don't require a lot of special equipment, we still have a few spots available in our preserving workshop, which is going to take place on September 22nd. If you're watching this video after that, don't worry about it. We do a workshop every month. Just visit the link below, or we'll put it somewhere here on the screen where you can click over. We do pasta, einkorn, holiday baking, preserving, all kinds of wonderful workshops. So you can check those out, link below. if you'd like the exact recipe for my sun-dried tomatoes for this Make Your Own series that we're going to be doing here on the channel, click the link below the video to the free newsletter. I'm going to be sending out an exact recipe for all the recipes that we feature here through that newsletter. And when you do subscribe, you can access the archive of past recipes as well. I hope you enjoy this make your own sun-dried tomato recipe. It's a great way to use up all those extra tomatoes. You don't want them to go bad. I tell my kids this all the time, and it's very cliche, but it's true. Waste not and want not. This way, the tomatoes don't go to waste, even though we have a ton of them right now, and we will have delicious food come winter.